Hi, back. Did you miss us? You want to know what we got up to in the break, but we can't tell you. It's really bad. It's not. So if you're coming back in, I hope you are. I'm just waiting for the ladies to come back. All right. And we will be continuing our discussion about who is the most fabulous of all fabulous monarchs ever in the whole world, in Britain a bit. So hopefully that's going to bring them up in just a second. Waiting. They're nodding. They're nodding here on the Zoom. So I'm taking that as a good sign. You've both come back in. I'd just like to point out that that's twice I've managed that this evening.
Don't curse it, Catherine. But well done.
Curtsy bow. Curtsy bow.
So now touch wood. Now touch some wood. Dirty.
Desk.
Dirty girl.
Desk.
Yeah.
Desk. Right. So
where
in the first
John says,
part,
you're queen of tech, you win the prize. Yes. Prizes for Catherine. Today it is not Catherine's fault. It is Catherine's success.
Oh.
And I got 2 degrees. I'm on fire.
Yeah.
Boom.
Good day.
Love
Good day.
If you don't know where that's come from, you've got to go back and watch the first part.
Yeah.
I've already had
Part
2 degrees.
part
So now
one.
I've got 4.
Oh, you sure?
Anyway.
Boom.
Right. So in the first
Part
part,
2.
we were, just in case you happen to be coming in now, where were you an hour ago?
We've already warmed up and everything.
We've already berated a number of people and said how they were just abject failures. That's a bit of an exaggeration, but it's also not. So it's based on this magazine article, The 12 Greatest Monarchs. So we picked one each and did them a bit more in depth, and then we sort of batted around a little bit more. But we've also we were talking about this last week, that we were going to do it this week. And so we were saying, okay, well, actually, what about this person? What about this person? What about this person? So in the first round, we went Philippa, Cat, me. So we'll do that again. So Philippa, who would you like to nominate as? Is that okay? You look like I've just taken you by surprise.
Sorry.
You weren't expecting that.
I just read John's
She's
comment.
laughing at John's comment.
No one.
You have, John.
No one has said clusterfuck.
Is that better?
There you go. We'll say it.
After 3, everybody, all of us. 1, 2, 3.
Clusterfuck.
There we go. So
actually, my nomination
Tesla.
might be a bit of a clusterfuck, actually, because
Love
I
it.
got so into reading about who I wanted to nominate, or at least suggest, or at least talk about, that I got way too into like detail and can't really give you a great summary. That's how my brain works. I'm so sorry. So I wanted to mention, and I thought he would be in this article, because if anyone's watched Tracy's the interview I did with Tracy about her book on the monarchy, and we talked about female monarchy, but I got to ask her some general questions, and she said she'd been in a discussion about who was I was going to say Britain's greatest monarch, and she said that the discussion she was involved in put Ethelstan, is that how you pronounce his name? Above him, above Elizabeth, and obviously Tracy's in here putting Elizabeth forward. So I went to have to read more about Ethelstan. Now he's basically, I'm going to say in a nutshell, he's the guy who made sure that William the Conqueror had a complete country, united country, to come and conquer. He's Alfred the Great's grandson, so whether you think uniting the tribes and the areas of England together was a good thing or not. Oh, there you go. Or maybe, Tom Holland, that'll be a good book. You know, he so I can see why he was nominated, and I need to go off and learn more. So that was one. The other one that I've semi investigated is James II, and the reason I just want to mention him, he basically didn't have chance to be a great monarch. He didn't have chance really to be a monarch because he got shunted out the back door, quite literally, and had to make his way over to France. But the propaganda around him at the time, and actually ingrained ever since, is that he was a dangerous religious zealot. And in fact, I would say that those who were saying that about him were in fact the dangerous religious zealots. They were so successful that they turned his own daughters against him. Mary and Anne, and he was distraught, like personally distraught. He loved his girls, he loved his children, and he saw his I think he saw his conversion to Catholicism as a personal decision, and he was actually more of a religious tolerant than he's made out to be. And but it just wasn't going to wash. He could not be a Catholic king. The Parliament was Protestant. They were not going to allow that, and the propaganda machine worked extremely well. So much so that we get the Glorious Revolution, where effectively a Dutch prince comes and just takes over the throne because he happens to be married to our deposed king's daughter. So, and then this is what leads to the Jacobite rebellions for the next 3 generations, and then that line dies out. But I would wager that he could have been quite a good monarch had he been allowed to reign. His track record before that, his support for his brother Charles II, his abilities as I think he was Lord High Admiral in the Navy, because you don't go in any lower, do you, if you're the Prince, if you're the Duke of York. He was, he's a capable officer, he's a capable leader. Apparently he was as popular with the ladies as his brother Charles at some points. I know, surprising. I know, but apparently
Pair of shaggers.
Pair of shaggers, the brother shaggers, and he so although I can't prove to you, I don't know if I've gone off now. Have I gone off?
Like
no,
really
did I go then?
Acts like a really crap seaside town on a Thursday evening in November.
And they have like a kind of, even though it's a live show, they have a canned laughter track. They're like, we're the brother shaggers. Hey! See me after, ladies. Hey!
If we ever get to take this on the road, if enough people want to see us and we get to take it on the road, you know how things have a warm-up act? We need to find 2 blokes who are prepared to deliberately be a really shit warm-up act called the Brother Shaggers.
I love it.
Oh, that's been written down for a t-shirt, right? So merch. We have a shop, everyone, but I'm launching it soon. I'll tell you all about it proper at some point.
So Sam's put Phil.
Did I
mean, yeah, we need to find a secondary Phil, who is someone who can match his level of depravity and filth, to be the brother shaggers.
That's us, but we're not men.
I mean, that's true. We need another boy.
Sister shaggers. Shaggers. Which way around would you? I mean, is there a comma involved? I don't know. It sounds wrong. Now, who knew that James II would get us onto depravity? But there you are.
I mean, I like it.
So there you
go.
Yeah,
I think. What do you think about the history?
I mean, all of it, all of the above. I think James gets a bad rap, a little bit. Yeah. Did we derail you, Philippa? Was there more in defence?
No, we're sorry.
I don't know if I froze. Or I must have frozen because all of you froze. So I thought, it must be me. It must be me. Yeah. So no, that was it. Really, is that I think James II is a potential that we couldn't prove, who could have actually been quite a good monarch. I think he had the right motivations and attitude. So there you go. There's one. Voila.
Good. Is it me now?
It is.
Oh God, you full named me. Bloody hell. Christ.
Is that normally mean you're in trouble?
She's going to blush now.
You said clusterfuck a few times. Don't full name me.
Right. Okay.
Okay.
I don't know what to call you now.
Cat, like you always do. What are you doing?
I feel like you need a pet name now that
It's
shows
not difficult,
love
is
and
it?
emotion rather than just like slackness
darling,
or
if you want, you can call me Pussy Willow, whatever you like, my love. Carry on.
Frank.
Frank. Dave.
No, it's got to be Janet.
Janet.
Janet's a legend.
She is.
My first suggestion is actually James II's brother, Charles.
Really?
Because he's another one that has this he's known as the Merry Monarch. He has this reputation of, you know, being a bit of a shagger and being a bit of a wastrel, a lot of a shagger. Like he has a lot of children, but none by his wife. So but he's not a horrible husband to her. Like to all reports, like she doesn't love the mistresses, obviously. She doesn't love the fact that he tries to put mistresses in her household, but he's not horrible to her. He's as loving as he's capable of being. But I also think he comes to the throne in a really difficult way, to have been the son of the only executed king, to have been exiled in France, to have watched on from afar as the Commonwealth experiment, the Republic experiment, in effect, just falls apart, because when you try and do a republic, but you do that by having the son of the protector as a heir to him, it doesn't fucking work.
And also, funeral in Westminster Abbey.
The Puritans are boring. And so thank goodness Charles comes back. Charles is invited back, and he returns to his father's throne, and he doesn't annoy anybody to the point that he goes the same way. Like, he comes to the throne, monarchy is reestablished, and he succeeds in we remain a monarchy from that point on. So first of all, he's the first king back who doesn't fuck it up. Brilliant, wonderful. He doesn't fall into the old traps necessarily. He touches upon it and notions of divine right, but he knows where the line is. He's learnt where the line is. Because of him, we have a return to the theatre. The theatres reopen, and women are now on the stage. They were on the stage in the continent, and now they're on the stage. We have the lovely Nell Gwyn, Sweet Nelly. We have these amazing stories that come out of his reign. This is a man who has, as part of his court, John Wilmot. John Wilmot, who is, if you're not familiar with the poetry of Rochester, and you haven't seen the film The Libertine, then, my friends, have a little Google. And look at, for example, the poem A Ramble in St. James's Park. Have a little look at that. He also wrote a poem that starts with the verse, his sceptre and his prick are of a length, and she who plays with one controls the other. And this is, Charles II could laugh at himself. History for John Wilmot, classic shagger, such a classic shagger that he was absolutely fucking riddled. His nose basically fell off. He had all of the syphilis, riddled with it.
All of the syphilis. Not just some of it, all of it.
Like, he had it, and he lived enough time with it that it got to tertiary stage syphilis, because it seems quite clear that he became senile because of it. So not a happy life for good old John Wilmot. But I think Charles II had a lovely time. This is a man who has his crown jewels stolen by some ingrate who is going by the name Colonel Blood. He almost certainly was not a colonel. He is stealing all of the valour. And when this thief is like, I'd like a chitty chat with the king, Charles is like, Bants, what a ledge. Let's have a chit. Let's have a chat. That sounds fab. And he's like, mate, I'll let you off. Have some land back in Ireland that was confiscated from you. Boom. Want some money? Boom. There you are. Want some rooms near me in Westminster? Crack on. And when I need a spy in future, good old bloody boy, I'll book you, shall I? This is, I mean, to be fair, I do think it's because he was probably involved in an insurance scam. And so that's why he's so friendly to Colonel Blood, is because the king was in on it. He has this reputation of being a bit of a dum-dum, but I don't think he is a dum-dum. Also, like, while he did flee the city when plague came, and that was no bueno, not a good idea, when the fire happened, he and James were instrumental in doing as much as humanly possible, considering the mayor had really been like, it's fine, a woman could piss it out. What a wanker. But Charles rocks up with James. They fight the fire. They demand that houses are pulled down. They create fire breaks, and more of the city would have been lost to the conflagration had it not been for the swift and decisive action of Charles and his brother. And for that, I think that they do deserve praise. And principally, I think it's worthy of recognition that after what had happened before, that Charles comes back and the foundations that he lays sets the scene for a monarchy that continues. Now, sure, there's the Glorious Revolution, but there's not another civil war in England. I mean, the Glorious Revolution is pretty bloody in Ireland, but there is peace on this island, and from that point on we have a monarchy, and it's unbroken, apart from when bloodlines die out because people don't breed enough. So I think that's worthy of credit for me.
You put a very good case for him.
And my second suggestion, my second suggestion is the last Stuart, in fact, Queen Anne. And she's another one that I think gets a bit of a raw deal. And that's because she is the one that comes before the Georgians. So history for Noah pointing out about Charles II, he hid in a tree. It's hard to say. I think you say it's hard to say sexy after that. I think the tree hiding is really sexy. He's like Robin Hood, all like,
do you know what, as well?
Boots.
That is worth mentioning, because his flight from Worcester after the Battle of Worcester was lost, I can't. It's one of these things I want to get better at knowing the detail of, because it took him a long time. I want to say weeks. I might be wrong, but a long time to get across the country and get to safety. Such was the danger he was in, and they were the amount of people that were out looking for him, and the amount of people who would have turned him in had they recognized him. He that journey alone is phenomenal. And in fact, Anne did one as well, didn't she? What
that points to me with the flight and the success of it is that this is somebody who is able to actually blend in. So he
hide in trees.
Well, I mean, unfortunately, trees don't move. So at a certain point, he's going to have to be at inns and other places. He's going to meet people on the road. He either has charm,
maybe sufficient charm, accents.
Yeah, or he has sufficient charm that people want to help him because they love him and they recognize him, but they'll still help him. Or he has got enough of the, in quotes, common touch that people don't recognize who he is. And that, I think, is quite an interesting thing. Like, how does he manage to move through an England that's hunting him? And I think it's going to be one of those two things. But with Anne as queen, I think that she's another one who comes to the throne with a really hard task, because when she comes to the throne, she knows that she is the last of her line. She has had all of these pregnancies, and she does have a child that lives, but he has passed away a couple of years before she takes the throne. And she's now not going to have any more children. So she knows that she's the last of her line. She's got terrible health. She is, in the words of the time, she's an invalid. She's got gout. She's overweight. She has not had the benefits of the kind of education that regnant queens have had before her. Both she and her sister are fairly deprived in that context. She's got people like Sarah Churchill around her, haranguing her and generally being a bit of a shit. And John's got it. She does her job no matter what. And that for me is the thing. This is somebody who I don't believe has the benefit of an enviable education. I don't even think she potentially has the natural aptitude to be quick-witted. She's consistently trounced by people like Sarah Churchill. She's overspoken and, talked to like trash, really. But she tries. She turns up, despite the fact that she's had all of these losses, despite the fact that she must have been in bloody agony. She turns up to more council meetings than any other Stuart monarch. She listened.
I think any other monarch, yes.
I mean, it's certainly any other Stuart monarch, incredible. Maybe any other monarch. She reads everything. I'm getting croaky, so I'm going to be quick. She reads everything. She is desperate to try to understand, even if I don't think it comes naturally to her. It must have been really bloody hard work. She is a firm defender of constitutional monarchy and the Protestant faith, for sure. She is responsible for keeping her father's Catholic heirs from getting onto the throne. And the thing that I think I like the most about her is that she was famously very suspicious of party politics. She didn't understand why, because the Whigs or the Tories were in power, that they had to be the ones to form the cabinet, when there might be a Tory that's great at this one particular job, but there's a Whig that's better at another job. And why couldn't she just pick who she wanted to pick? And her thought process was that if people are in parties, they will put party before nation. And so there's a part of me that looks at Queen Anne and thinks that, my sweet Christ, she is like Cassandra. She is cursed with the capacity to see into the future, and nobody bloody believes her.
Yeah, she was similar with the involvement in the Wars of the Spanish Succession, which she was totally behind at the beginning, up to a point where you've got people like Marlborough wanting to continue them because it was a brilliant gig. It was a brilliant gig for him. He had, he had prowess, he had purpose, he had money, he had power. And she gets to the point where she's like, I don't think we should be involved in this anymore. We're bankrolling other countries' involvement in this, and for what benefit to us? She got it and she expressed it, and it must have felt, like you say, it's a bit of a curse to have that kind of foresight or insight, because ultimately she wasn't the only power she had was to just keep going, keep to her conviction.
And people didn't take her seriously either, because she didn't have the rhetorical skills of, for example, an Elizabeth I. We aren't going to see a Tilbury speech coming out of Anne, God bless her.
Yeah. And
but if she'd been able to express what was in her heart and in her head, my God, what could she have changed?
I think so as well. Yeah, her speeches were written for her. That wasn't unusual. But of course, because of her poor eyesight, she ends up having to read them as opposed to deliver them.
Yeah,
that doesn't then come across as a powerful, monarch who you should be listening to if they have to read off the sheet they've been given.
Oh no, it can't go wrong now.
While we wait for Philippa to stop. While we wait for Philippa to stop. Oh, you buffered there, Philippa. Hello.
I think I'm back.
Yes, you are.
That's not my fault. Not my fault.
Oh dear. I'm back.
Oh dear.
I think for me that the thing that I love the most about Anne is that she's just a bloody grafter. To me, she comes across as somebody who just works at it, and she is. I mean,
she's doing "Told You So" dance up wherever you leave you go afterwards as well, because she's like, "Told you that party politics wasn't a great idea."
I mean, I'd be prepared. I'm very much prepared to be contradicted on this, but for me, Anne is the first regnant monarch of this nation who first and foremost is a servant of her people, to me.
Yeah.
I actually, yeah, what I'm seeing there when you're talking just then was sort of slight Queen Elizabeth II vibes.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that Her Majesty the Queen has far more advantages and aptitudes than Anne ever had, and far more better luck, and a lot more joy, I think, in her life, which frankly is bloody saying something, to be honest. If you look at the life and the shit that Her Majesty the Queen has had to deal with, and you go, well, at least she didn't have it like Anne did it, that just tells you how rubbish it must have been for Anne.
It was, yeah.
But yeah, I think that's what I like about her so much, is that she's a real servant. She had it bad.
So we mentioned that her children, and she had the Duke of Gloucester died at the age of 11, but her two eldest children, her daughters. So we think she had a lot of babies, and I think her health, and we don't completely understand what was wrong with Anne, but I think quick successive pregnancies, on top of the fact that she wasn't the healthiest person, we think of these babies either being stillborn or dying soon after birth, but in fact her first two children, her daughters, died of smallpox.
Oh, good Lord.
They died of smallpox, and the smallpox also, her husband caught it at the same time, and they seem to have had a very, very loving relationship. She, at least you think, at least in all this, she had a loving relationship with her husband, but that scarred him internally. He was never quite right in terms of his lung capacity, and therefore his health for the rest of his life after that either. But yeah, I think that's worth mentioning, is that actually she wasn't just someone who was but she wasn't plagued with stillbirths and children always dying shortly after birth. Her first two children, her daughters, were healthy until the smallpox got them. God, and that, I mean, the devastation that woman went through.
Yeah, you can't imagine.
The fact that she, frankly, and really, with all of that absolute grief and tragedy in her life, and also when her sister and brother-in-law / cousin were on the throne, when they were on the throne, she wasn't treated particularly lovingly. There was loads of conflict. Like, it was just miserable. The fact that she was able to get out of bed every day, much less go to council meetings while the Whigs and Tories are, getting out to measure to see who's longest. I mean, all of the fact that she had the capacity to remain composed with that level of tragedy. I mean, I just think about if she with that grit and mettle had an education to be envied, had not had the poor luck with health, what could she have achieved? But that's a shoulda, woulda, coulda, isn't it?
I think we're feeling the love for Anne.
Yeah, I love her. I love Anne. God bless her. God bless Anne. Who are yours, Catherine?
Well, now it's completely in the opposite direction. Just like both going back in the other direction in time, and someone completely different, because I'm rolling out Henry V.
Oh.
So the reason why I'm going, I will keep this sort of fairly short because I'm conscious of the time. I've got some hearts come up the screen then. Not for his haircut, just obviously.
That was isn't that something to do with an injury he had?
He did get hit, didn't he, in the face, I think with an arrow or something. He had a number of
and that's why his portrait is the famous portrait of him is it's because the other side of his head was a bit mashed up. I don't know.
He was quite battle worn, I think.
And
when you're the monarch, it's a very unwise portrait artist that thinks, I'm going to paint you exactly what you look like.
Yeah, you could have thought he could have, photoshopped.
I know. Maybe his computer skills are my level, so he's stuck to like some crayons.
It's an issue.
But yeah, so Henry V. So yeah, completely different monarch, different times as well, obviously, as we've spoken about before, that all these things sort of like a little bit contextual in terms of the period in history. So he was, oh God, the situation, as most of these situations are, is exceptionally complex. But he was the grandson of John of Gaunt, so it's sort of very much around the period that I like, and the son of Henry Bolingbroke, so the son of Henry IV, and he was a usurper, considered a usurper. So there was a lot of sort of disquiet around his father's rule, and there was one time when he himself was thinking, yeah, you're not dead yet. If you could hurry that up, that would be fabulous, because I'd quite like a go now. Anyway, they sort of overcame that slight bump in their relationship. But as is generally the way, he did predecease his son, and so Henry got to be king, Henry V. Now, he did learn a little bit from some of his predecessors. And apparently, he didn't have the best relationship with his father. He went through a phase of being a bit power hungry. He could be a little bit of a player. He liked a little bit of a piss up. But when he became king, he was like, right, I am now king. I'm sorting my shit out. That's a verbatim quote. I'm sorting my shit out.
That's Shakespeare, that is, isn't it?
Yeah, right there. and so he took the decision, and he looked at sort of the problems with King John and the barony. He said, right, I need to work with these people. I'm going to go to start with this. I'm going to go with appeasement. And he took some of these relationships with people who had opposed his father as a usurper, and he tried to make peace with them and work with these people. And he tried not to really heavily tax them as much as he could. He really tried to sort of go around things to work with people and create some unity as much as one can in these situations. And I think, a lot of people might come into a period of kingship, and I say this more with kings rather than with queens, although historically it could be either, but looking back in the medieval period and before, you can sometimes come in, last dude's a bit unpopular, hooray, it's somebody new, fabulous, so we come in and it's all bells and whistles and it's great. And it goes all right to start with, and then some stuff happens and it all goes tits up. Bless you. And so Henry VII and Henry VIII being a very good example of that. Oh, Renaissance prince, this is going to be fabulous. Oh my God, what just happened? So, but he managed to maintain this quite well. He kept this up pretty well. Now, he really secured, rightly or wrongly, he secured the throne of France for England, and he would have been crowned King of France had he not predeceased the Dauphin. So, he was very close, but he too died unexpectedly, a different set of dire consequences. Obviously, we know his son was King Henry VI, and we know the issues that caused. And had he not died when he did, he may have lived to a point where he saw that his son was not going to be an effective ruler. Maybe he would have had another son. Maybe we wouldn't have the Wars of the Roses, but we're back to the what ifs. So he really took this line of appeasement, except for the French, obviously, because that was just, you don't do that with the French, do you? In the medieval period, you never nice to the French. But the French actually, in a bizarre sort of way, had some of them, not all of them, had a bit of respect, and some of them mourned him a little bit, because in a weird way, you look at the factions within sort of French politics, and what were they called? The Monarchs and the Burgundians, and they were so busy picking at each other and causing problems. He was able to smooth that, actually. So bizarrely enough, some of the French were like, actually, this English dude is actually possibly our best bet at the minute.
Well, the English dude with a rather strong French heritage as well.
Yeah. It's a fine line at this point, isn't there, really?
English dude.
Yeah.
Okay. The man representing the English.
Representing the English today.
In the red corner.
Yeah.
In the red corner. So, yeah, I think he... In that respect, he forged something, and the French, I think, also, though, didn't take him very seriously in terms of his military capabilities, which was a mistake, because although he hadn't been on a lot of military campaigns intercontinentally, he had been quite successful against the Welsh, The Welsh might not agree, but he had been quite successful opposing the Welsh for his father. And, you know, he I don't know, he just kind of, he was an effective soldier, and he did have an eye for keeping the peace and looking for ways to solve things where possible. But of course, he had that incredibly decisive victory at Agincourt that he pulled out the bag, surprise, which has of course gone down in history as a huge military success. And you know, we look at Henry VIII, they were sort of distantly related via different sons of John of Gaunt, weren't they? So they were some type of cousins. And you know that Henry VIII wants to be Henry V.
Oh yeah, he was his poster boy, wasn't he?
Yeah,
in many ways, that's the thing that I dislike the most about Henry V is that he basically gave Henry VIII a war boner, and he just started like, and he is the reason that Henry VIII wangs about in the way that he does. And I know that's not Henry V. I know it's not Henry V's fault, but I do blame him.
So what you're saying is, if he'd been a really shit military leader, then we'd probably
Henry would have found somebody else to wang about after. But he's just like semi-tumescent for Henry V, isn't he?
So, but anyway, so that's and I think he wasn't a womanizer. I think he treated, you know, he had actually been after the hand of Catherine of Valois, but he put a bit of a cheekily high thingy on it so that they were a bit like, oh, lots of negotiating. But I think he was a faithful husband, wasn't he, that we're aware of? Obviously, that I'm aware.
He was very busy, like at war.
Surrounded
mostly by men. He was quite busy.
You don't know what goes on once everyone's packed up the tents for the evening. But then, having said that, they didn't have the longest of marriages because obviously he never got to meet his son. He carked it. He did, yes. And so that's kind of my, you know, and he did leave the country in a fairly strong position.
He died too early as well. That was his problem.
Yeah, his big problem.
And then obviously nobody could have foreseen what was going to happen with his son.
Yeah,
that was John, in fact, a clusterfuck.
But I think actually it's quite important to point out.
That's my case for Henry V anyway. I think he stabilized, he learnt from the past, he pulled his socks up when he was in a position of power. He left things in a pretty decent state, as much as one can when one's on holiday warring and dies unexpectedly.
Went off warring with the French.
Yes.
I think actually that's a really good point though, Catherine, because it all falls apart in Henry VI's reign, but not while he's a child. Henry V has left the country in such a good position that they can have a literal infant on the throne of England for decades, and nobody challenges that boy on the throne. It's only when he's a man and he should be doing stuff, but unfortunately he most likely has, we think, catatonic schizophrenia. It's only that disrupts his capacity to sit on the throne. So in that regard, Henry did a bloody bang up job, because leaving a months-old baby after you is a shit show waiting to happen. But that isn't what the problem is in the next reign. So yeah, that's spot on.
Yeah.
So very different to Anne, because we love Anne, and we feel a bit of love for James II as well.
Yeah, a little bit of love.
Very, very different. Very different to Anne, but different times, different people. But I think if you're looking at somebody as a good king because they created unity and strength and didn't bankrupt the country and didn't whore their way across the world, if you don't think that's a good thing for a monarch to be doing, they did. So and I just think that he left he did a reasonable job given the circumstances.
Yeah.
This is how I'm going to leave that.
Before I want to give a comment from way back up from History Feneur. You said that you're mildly gut of Edward II, and you bring up an actually really good point that he would be popular now in regards to climate progression and PR. Digging ditches and hanging out with commoners, a visionary and a fiercely loyal shagger. No lies are detected. This is when he is simply Edward of Carnarvon, son and heir of Edward I. He is famously rowing his own boats, He learns how to thatch roofs. He is absolutely digging ditches, and everybody in the land, or in the court at least, is going, hang on, it's a bit weird, isn't it? What's he? Why isn't he off, cleaving somebody's face in two? He's out there thatching a sodding roof. What the?
I will have to say for Henry II as well,
and
did a
he
brilliant
does
PR job.
Sorry, I yawned. I didn't mean to.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
Sorry, are we boring you?
I do think that Edward II probably does get a raw deal, and a lot of that is the homophobia, both of his own times and times, probably, arguably up until now. I think he is discredited, and his reign is discredited as, in quotes, effeminate, and all of those codified words that basically allow people's barely veiled homophobia to come screaming out of the proverbial homophobia closet, which is an odd place for it to be, but that's the phrasing I'm using. He is loyal to his friends, not to his wife, except he is good to her, apart from when a shagger comes in. And that's, for me, the big thing about Edward is he becomes a relentless bastard to his wife. And at first she was on his side. And when he starts fucking her over, that's when he gets into real problems. And it was unnecessary. He could have kept her on side. And the fact that he allows her to become basically a persona non grata, and he threatens her capacity to be with her children. Oh, honey, no, that she might have been a child when she married you, Edward, but now she's a mama bear and she will rip out your throat. You played with the wrong bitch. So that's what happened there. But I don't think that the stuff that he's normally discounted for is the reason why he's a problem. I don't like him because he was such a shit to his wife.
People commenting that they really like him. I just Emma 440 warring and whoring. That's a t-shirt slogan. So what are you doing this week? What are you doing this weekend? Warring and whoring.
Yeah, mate. I want that on a t-shirt.
That's the tour name for the Shagging Brothers.
I'm not getting
the Shagger Brothers.
I'm not getting the comments coming up, and I don't want to touch my screen, so you'll have to tell me if stuff come up because I can't see it.
Oh
no. Annoying.
Right. So there you go. I think we've covered quite a wide range.
We have. John mentioned King John, who was, of course, the first feminist, as we have previously discussed.
I mean, that man is just a massive bellend. He is.
But he was the first feminist.
Worst.
Deceased.
Okay.
He is deceased.
He is the gittiest of all of the gits. That is one person for whom I do not believe. Unlike Edward, who I do think that history has in some ways been unfair to because of bigotry, basically. I don't think that's the case with John. I think he's
what he's made out to be.
He is every bit as bad and depraved as he is made out to be. He is irredeemable.
Or anyone who missed, we did a whole show. It's now a show.
It is a show.
On
King
John. And that will be available on the podcast as well, the King John one. So, hang
on, wait. Side note from History for Nerd: I do feel in the future, Boaty McBoatface competitions, the history crew need to vote for War Boner as a possibility.
I can't see this, and I can't hear what you said because you laughed.
Side note: so the History for Nerd. Side note: I do feel in future. Boaty McBoatface competitions, the history crew need to vote for War Boner as a possible.
I love it. I love it. Is that going on a t-shirt, Philippa? It's War Boner going on a
t-shirt. It is noted.
I'll bring my War Boner. You bring the sponge. Victoria or otherwise, I don't know.
Wow. Only with real cream.
We're off the rails. Real cream, Philippa. You're all about the real cream. from
What about the
from
real
the war boner.
The real cream from the war boner.
No, the sponge. Oh, I don't know if that's any better.
When you went spur, I was worried then.
Lewis, you've asked our thoughts on Henry VIII. In part 1, I read him for filth. So
We
you
did,
can
yeah.
we
ripped Henry.
in short,
And
no, he's a no
and you-
bueno. He is a no
No.
bueno. No synthetic cream on this war boner,
This war boner.
sir.
I can't see these comments. It's very frustrating.
Delightful.
Right.
Thank you.
Okay.
for
So
that
do we?
sentence.
So I think we have some definite no's, and we have some like, yeah, maybe. I don't know if we can we pick one. I don't know if we can pick a bestest ever one. Can we?
Do you know,
I want to go
think,
with Her Majesty, the Queen,
I was
current
gonna say, I
Queen.
think Her Majesty has, our current.
How about
queen.
then? How about then? We give her a posse. So she's like the head honcho, and then she's got Anne as her
Boom.
bestie.
Love it.
Yeah. Then she's got
Elizabeth
James-
will be up there. We haven't
she's
actually
got
gone through Elizabeth.
she's got like James the second and Charles the second, like sorting shit out for her, and like
Or just being
They're
fun.
like
things and doing
Being
the
fun.
PR and doing the PR.
Yeah.
And then she's got Henry V out the back taking care of things when shit goes down.
And they all walk around with the music from a Tarantino movie. That's and they bum 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 ba-dum, bum. That's what's happening in my head.
If
They're all doing that.
anybody can do like amazing Photoshop jobs on that, that would be amazing.
Yeah.
The Queen's posse.
The team to give you a war boner. Right. So there we go. Right, are we going to start to tie it together? So tie
wrap
it
it up.
together to wrap it
In a
up.
bow.
So the bad
Put your
news
war
is-
boner in a bow, covered with non-artificial cream.
There's some horrible
No
image-
synthetic cream. Thank you.
Some
No
really
synthetic
horrible,
cream on your
horrible
bow-wrapped
images
war boner.
in my head. Oakland Homestead Joda says Henry VIII is all about that war boner.
He loves it.
He is.
Loves
Henry
it.
the Fifth.
That's what should have been on his badge, on his coat of arms.
A
That would be
boner.
interesting, wouldn't it? Anyway, yes, so we don't have
Just aubergine emoji. On his-
In a helmet. It's an aubergine in like a helmet with a lance. And that's going on the t-shirt.
yeah,
War boner.
literally an aubergine,
Someone draw
a
that.
jousting aubergine. That
Please tell me we've got somebody who can do cartooning in this
That'd be-
little.
If
Someone
you
please
can,
tell
we'll
me.
give you a free t-shirt.
Yeah,
Yeah,
if you could
your
draw
image
us
on it.
a
There we go.
jousting aubergine war boner, we will make that on a t-shirt and send it to you.
Jousting aubergine war boner. You know when you want
You
to
get
see
all
an
of that.
image of something, but you also don't. That's kind of where I am right now. Debbie Casey's
wanna
put
see
an
it.
aubergine in the chat.
Aubergine.
Thank you. Let's have aubergines in the chat.
Or for our Americans, of course, I do mean eggplant.
Eggplants,
Eggplant.
yes.
The purple one.
The
The one that your husband sometimes sends you and you're like, what? That one. Oh, okay.
Philippa.
It's just I don't know.
Deceased. I'm a deceased git.
It's just
Right.
so
We're not here next week.
No, I was trying to,
Because-
I got distracted then by Philippa's
I'm
getting
so
sent
sorry.
aubergines.
And it's
yes,
my
so
fault.
because-
This time it's my fault we're
It
not here.
is,
When
it
I'm
is,
sorry.
yes.
I am spending many days at Hampton Court Palace. Yes, please. Yes, please share your thoughts. Philippa.
Share with the class.
Yes.
But the podcast goes live next Wednesday.
Boom.
I have finally done it, everybody. So, and it is a bonus episode that
Oh, yeah.
we recorded only for the podcast. So, you won't have heard it.
Oh, that's the one where I laughed and lost the plot slightly over that. Yeah.
I can't.
I don't even remember
Really?
what we
The
talked
one-
about.
It was the history of
Steve swearing.
swearing and hurling insults.
Oh. A mad journalist. We're not doing next Wednesday because I have flaked out. I am working in costume at Hampton Court Palace for 9 days, and I feel Wednesday will be in the middle of that, and I will be very tie-tie, and also potentially my voice is not massively recovered from COVID. I still get a bit croaky, so I need to look after my voice. And basically I got a bit sad at the thought of the ladies doing a room without me. I got massive FOMO. So
she banned
I had a small tantrum, threw my toys out the pram, and that's it. The 9 days Queen. I mean, John, don't ill wish me. She got her head cut off.
9 days Queen.
Also, I'm not being a queen. I'm being a fool, a literal court fool. So I'm going to have the most lovely time doing that and doing some fooling, which I'm very much looking forward to.
Yes. So, and I will see you down there. Right. So so that's where we are with that. We will let you know when we are holding the auditions for the Shagger Brothers. So keep an eye out for those. That's good times. For those of you who saw the end of the first part when I was talking about my other half, he sent me a text message saying knobhead. So I just thought that was a lovely way.
So he could have used an aubergine for that.
He could have used it
with a head, with a face next to it, obviously.
Yeah,
because on its own it means something different. But you need to get.
I'm getting slightly concerned by all these pictures of aubergines.
I can't see
no
anything.
Pictures. Kat always says no pictures.
Yes. Don't DM us.
Yes. So yes. So if you have any questions, comments, or suggestions for future discussions, then please do PM us, DM us, whatever you want to call it. On here, we're all here. So obs, because we're
all time. We never leave.
So yeah,
there's no exit.
Get in contact with anything like that. Suggestions welcome. Photos not. Okay.
Unless it's a photo of an aubergine in a helmet jousting. That picture is welcome.
Unless images previously discussed as acceptable and in fact highly desirable. Do not interpret highly desirable as your own genitals.
No.
Thank you. That's
just a caveat.
We've broken Philippa. That's it. It's happened. And also, Debbie, yes,
we are
no boning of me anywhere. Thank you.
We are working on breaking down the fact that Philippa's much more what's the word I'm looking for? Delicate than
she's not delicate. She's not delicate. She's just not in the fucking gutter like you and I, Catherine. That's the diff. Catherine and I will say things about some vulgarity that we have encountered on our journey through life, on spinning on this disc of misery, and we will say something and we will look at Philippa and the pair of us will go, oh, we've said a thing that she doesn't know about, and now we have to explain what 2 girls 1 cup is, because and we feel bad about that.
You say something and I think
if you don't know what that is, for the love of God, don't find out.
No,
I haven't. I've resisted the temptation totally, so I still am in the dark, and I think I'm better off for it.
Yeah, so that happens a lot. Disc of misery has to be another one for the t-shirt. Yes, spinning on this disc of misery.
Disc of misery. That's a bit flat Earth, isn't it?
Yeah,
I mean we've talked about flat Earthers as well.
We did talk about flat Earthers as well, and
we cover everything.
No such thing as gravity, but they do say the Mars is round, so it's all good. Right,
but not the chocolate bar.
I want some chocolate now.
Oh, I want a round Mars.
I've not had one of them for ages.
No.
Ooh, battered Mars bar.
You've said a thing now.
In the fridge or not in the fridge?
Fridge. Oh, chocolate always in the fridge.
In batter.
Yeah. Obviously.
With ice cream. Nommy, nommy, nom, nom.
Oh, Mars bar ice cream.
Yeah, have you ever had one? It's good.
Good times.
Yeah.
And our journalist, also in the dark, shall remain so forevermore if I can help it.
Yes.
Good.
Yeah.
Fridge, Cadbury, Oh, look. He's coming in now for brownie points after calling me a knobhead.
What's he brought you?
Right, so this is what David's just
Oh, yay.
David.
Well, to go.
There's that much. You know, he says you're the best. Before you all think, oh, isn't that sweet you thought of that? No, I bought him that last week for his birthday.
But he brought it to you today.
To eat.
He's only bought it in because he's trying to get brownie points, or he's thinking about his aubergine.
If he texts you aubergine now, you'll know.
Have an aubergine better for you. Someone's put yes, David. Okay, yeah.
Jockey chocks.
Chocolate. Everyone, right? The trouble is now, if he's given that to me as a joke, he ain't getting it back.
No,
so,
obviously not.
I'm clearly going to ingest it very
I'm
quickly,
sorry.
So.
What kind of pervert hands over a bar of chocolate as a joke? If someone did that to me, they wouldn't, and they tried to take it back, they wouldn't be leaving with their hand. Like, that's mine now. You've given it to me, and it's in my face. Oh, hello, David. You dirty, dirty.
Dark Black Winter is my other half. That's his gaming name. He does like tabletop gaming, Warlord and stuff like that. So now he's just sent me an aubergine.
Sent all of us an aubergine. He sent all of us an aubergine.
Oakland said, Jenna, oh my gosh, I need to pay a visit to our English cafe for Cadbury's goodies. I can't get anywhere else in Rhode Island. Chocolate.
Right.
Chocolate.
I'm going to go for my dinner.
Yes. Anyway, we've gone off on all sorts of strange tangents.
We always
just very, very quickly, a weird question that occurred to me earlier. Was William of Orange really short?
He was shorter than Mary. And he was quite
short. She was very happy about it, was she? Initially.
She wasn't very happy because he was her cousin.
Also that, but he used to have his portraits done with him sat on a horse.
Yes, he did.
With all the other
sorrel, white sorrel
next to the horse, so that he
wore heels.
Yeah, he was very small boned because they've got his, I think it's his waistcoat.
Yeah, it's tiny, isn't it?
And he had like this really kind of asthmatic-y chest, which is one of the reasons why they spend so much time at Hampton Court, because everyone is astounded that he outlives Mary. Astounded. They're like, it's fine because he's going to cark it. They are shocked that he manages to outlive her.
And then he dies because of an accident. So that's quite...
The self-same horse that he's painted on flips. And I believe he bumps into the pommel and it rupture his bowel? Or does he fall off and break his collarbone? No, William the Conqueror breaks his collarbone and dies of the infection, right? Well, yeah, because
just conscious of the
it was a molehill.
It may be coming up to the second hour and it might cut us off.
Right.
Yes, we should.
So on that note, sorry to cut you off there. It was me that asked about William Orange, but I just don't want it to suddenly go oomph and then have to
good point
again.
Good point.
People of everywhere, thank you so much for joining us and for your questions and your comments and your thoughts and your additions. Look after your aubergines. Look out for the podcast. We will let you know when it is coming, and we will see you.
It's definitely out next Wednesday. It's launching next Wednesday.
So we will remind you. We've got 2 minutes. Oh no, I've got the warning this time. It didn't give me the warning. I've got the warning this time. You've got 2 minutes.
See, you're a technical genius now. You're just cracking it. Yeah.
I know. all bow to me later on. So right. So take care, everybody. Thank you so much, and we will see you. You can listen to us in a week, but we will see you in 2 weeks. Do get in touch if you need to. See you later.
Bye everyone. Bye.